Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome. I'm Ursa Ryan, and this is a new game of Civ. I've been looking forward to starting a new one. I have to say, after the old Moroccan playthrough we did, that took like months to film, I was kind of holding off playing Civ again for a little while, just until my enthusiasm properly came back, and I think I found the perfect map for it. But here we are. We're playing as the Celts. It's going to be a big map. This, as you can see, it's a 22-player map, which should be really good fun. And let me just show you what I've got going on. This is going to be an Emperor difficulty map, but I've got mods in it, so it sort of will get tweaked from side to side a little bit. So what we're playing with no city raising. Now this is quite fun. I've played a map with this a little bit. It's not something I really experiment with that often. But no city raising is good fun. It means that once cities have settled somewhere, it can't be burnt to the ground permanently. So what you end up having is empires that have cities of other cultures. And actually I quite like it. It's quite a good touch. We've also got quick combat on because, you know, otherwise it takes forever. But the biggest difference is that we're going to play this on historic. This is a new game mode that plays like Marathon, so it's 3 times longer. All the texts take longer. However, it's a mod that's done it. What's it called? It's called Longer Eras Historic. It's a really, really fun mod. Essentially what it does is it makes the whole gameplay as Marathon, but units are built and bought as if it was standard mode. So effectively what it does is it means you play a normal game of Civ that takes 3 times longer. And the thing I really like about it is that you go through each age and you have enough time to actually play through each age. If you have a unique unit in the classical era, for instance, you have enough time to actually use him and have fun with him, which I really like it. I think it's a really, really good touch. But anyway, we've got AI fair play on. I like this mod. I know it's a little bit cheaty, but with 22 players, I feel it's fair. Effectively, that just stops the computers from having their 3 techs at the start. And it puts everyone onto an all-ground, you know, like a fair starting basis. I quite like that. I mean, we're on Emperor mode, so the computers are going to be tough. But what we might do is, if this game sort of plays, you know, nicely, AI fair play, if we win it, I might go to Immortal for the next game, but we'll see. We've got Faster Plus expansion. This is really good. It means that your lands expand a little bit quicker. It says that it's a third quicker, but that's actually not true, because each tile becomes harder to get after the thirst, so it doesn't actually make it a third easier. It just sort of makes the first few easier. But what it does is it changes so that it fills in holes, and it goes for sort of plots in a more intelligent way. It's quite a nice one. We've got the more luxuries and the more pantheons which come together, and the more luxuries is a really good mod. It adds lots of different extra luxuries into the game, especially on big games like this. Oh, you can't see any for now, but we'll find some. Especially on big games like this, it's actually quite useful. It stops us from not being able to trade with people later in the game. And then we're using a yet not another Earth map. Now this is a really good mod that has, amongst other things, the very famous huge world map. But we're not playing on that one. We are playing on Data's Europe CI5. There we go, Civ 5. So effectively this is a complete Europe map, like the one we did on Morocco, but a different type. But it's quite accurate. It's huge. Europe it's an absolutely huge map. It's got 22 European civs, all with accurate starting locations. So we should be round about where Edinburgh is, which should be cool, which means we should have England just down here, and the British Isles will sort of be contained, and then we'll have Europe on. So we're playing as the Celts, as you can see, and this is going to be quite a tricky game for us, because stuck in Scotland at the start is actually quite a tricky place to be. We've only got England on the same island, and there's going to run out of space very quickly, so we're going to have to deal with England fairly quickly. But in addition to that, we're going to need optics fairly quickly to be able to leave Great Britain, otherwise we're going to be stuck here. The other annoying thing is that, so we've had a Celts playthrough before. It was a good game. If you haven't seen the Celts game, that was a good fun. I enjoyed that one. But the Celts' unique ability is that if you are next to a forest tile that is unworked, you get an extra faith per turn, which is really good. If you're next to 3, you get 2 faith per turn, and it's always worth going for the 2 faith per turn. It makes a huge difference. But where Edinburgh spawned has unfortunately just 1, 2 on either side of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move myself into a place where I can actually use 3 forest tiles. And I think actually, if I move myself to here, this tile, not only does that give me proximity to 1, 2, 3 forests without anything in them, which will give me 2 faith per turn, but I'd also be adjacent to this cattle, which is worth 3 food. It actually would give me a much better start than here, where the best tile I've got to work, unfortunately, is just a forest. That would actually be a very slow start for me. So for me, it's definitely worth moving. Here we go, Edinburgh, just down 1 tile. It won't be as accurate a starting location, but you know what? Actually, that is roughly where Edinburgh is. I mean, Great Britain is going to look nothing like itself. So you know, it's fine. Let's just have a little explore. Ruins. Okay, let's just get cracking. I'm really looking forward to this. This should be a big playthrough. It's going to take a while on historic mode, but it should be really fun. Oh, you may have noticed I've changed the victory conditions. The problem about historic mode is because it skews with everything. Scientific victories don't really work. I mean, people end up taking off in like 1000 AD. You have to take the actual date with a pinch of salt, because cities still grow as if they were on standard mode, but we've got so many extra turns, cities will become huge, which means that people will tech up faster than they're supposed to in Civ. So science victories just don't work. You have to take up the pinch of salt. This map only supports a few city-states as well, not many city-states, so you can't play with a diplomacy victory. So we're going for a domination victory with 22 players. That's going to be very difficult. So we've also got cultural victory, which should pretty much come in hand. I think whichever Civ is going to be able to dominate the most will end up having the best chance at a cultural victory. So there we go. Plunk down, and there is Edinburgh. We wanted to retain our coast, but having these adjacent cattle, that's going to make a huge difference. And as you can see, we've got the 2 faith per turn. Now, that should mean in 10 turns, we should be able to get our Pantheon. And that is before Ancient Ruins give faith. So we should have the first Pantheon, we should have the first choice, and we should be able to propel ourselves into a good place in the game. Fingers crossed, eh? Fingers crossed. The first thing to do, we're going to be on a tiny island. There is no point getting a scout. I mean, Great Britain is not, we know what Great Britain looks like. I'm from London. So what we're going to have to do is we are going to have to build a monument. I think there's no point building a worker because, I mean, we need animal husbandry and we need mining or trapping to get most of these things. There are no farmable tiles around us. So that is unfortunate, but it means that a worker is not a good idea. For now, we need to get monument. Choose a research. Now, the best thing we can do is get ourselves sailing as quickly as possible. For 2 reasons. Firstly, we'll get a granary. Granaries are good. Second thing is we'll be able to get our cargo ships to be able to ferry food around. And the third thing is it puts us near optics, and we need optics as soon as possible. Normally you'd go for mining with so many forests around you, and you can see we've got lots of forest tiles around us. But we're the Celts, we kind of want to retain as much forest as we can, so mining for us is not going to be as big a priority. So we'll jump in for pottery. You can see, look, we're playing on marathon, so 44 turns. Don't worry, the city will grow quickly. That will come down quickly, I promise you. So we'll go and see what's in there. Just parry away. You can see that we're on 15. That's I thought we'd be lower, to be honest. The game is set so that obviously there's 22 players, but these are all European. I don't know what European countries we're going to find, because there are technically 25. Oh, animal husbandry. Oh, that's really good. Yeah, sorry, just to go back onto my point, because there are 22 civs, there are 25 possible European civs, so a few of them won't get picked, but mostly we should have all of Europe. It should be really good. The good thing about this is that we've got an extra trade route already, so when we get sailing, we should be able to get 2 cargo ships very quickly. That will make a big difference. Have we got any horses on the map? No horses. Typical. Well, that unfortunately is a little bit useless, and it doesn't add us any buildings. So yeah, animal husbandry was not the best, but on historic mode, actually getting a 3 tech is about as good as you can get. I mean, if we'd got pottery, that would have been the perfect start, but unfortunately not. But you can see here we have very limited space up north. It's going to be a bit of a squeeze on this island, and we're going to have to rely quite heavily on cargo routes to get ourselves that early game food. But you can see we've got double dyes up north. It could be worse, to be honest. Tundra, a little bit of tundra. I mean, it would be good to settle on tundra, because we can make it decent. Well, actually, you know what? A lot of forest tundra. It's not as bad as it could be. I'm sort of reassured that Scotland isn't going to be the worst. But the thing we need to do is we need to think about settling south as soon as possible, because if we want to compete with England on the Great British Isles, we're going to have to settle south and sort of block England off as soon as possible. And we've got to kill England. We want the British Isles to be ours. So Elizabeth is going to have to go down. I think this island is far too small to house us both permanently. There we go. Look at that. These cattle are definitely worth having, and we're now getting gold from the truffles. It's good. It's very good. Let me just think about what's best to do. If we just move south, I think that's going to be the best thing to do. Yeah, we definitely need to kill Elizabeth. If we wait until she gets ship of the lines, that would be far too late. We can't do that. So it would be best if we take her out early. Either we want to take her out before she gets walls up, which is, I think, masonry, which is actually quite difficult because people get masonry very early if you're quite an aggressive civ. And England, I think, tends to get masonry. Well, no, I think England probably tends to get sailing fairly quickly. So it's difficult to know what they're going to do. But if we can get it before they get masonry, then that means we can use just regular foot soldiers and whatnot to take their cities. As soon as masonry comes up, really, we need catapults, and that does slow us down quite a bit. Here we go. So, okay, some cotton, some fish. Okay, well, that fish is actually in range of Edinburgh. That's good. At least we've got at least one extra food tile. It would have been better if we'd had multiple cattle, to be honest, but never mind. Right, I mean, it's very, very chopped up land. It's difficult to move about, and that might actually come... that might be quite handy for us. It is good to defend if England do try and get a little bit fresh with us. As I was saying, we need to get a second city as soon as possible because they're the Celts. Every city we get near the forest would actually double up for us as sort of boosting our faith. And you can see here, if I were to sort of plonk a city down here, we'd be on the coast again, which would be good. We want all of our cities to be on the coast, but it will also be next to the forest. So at the moment, that cotton tile wouldn't be a bad place to stick ourselves. So I think we're gonna sacrifice some early game growth, and we're gonna go for just getting a settler really quickly. We're gonna just have a look and see if we can rig this to produce a settler quicker for ourselves. We've got at the moment 15 turns. So if I move this and force it to getting just production, no, we don't have any straight production tiles. So the way it was doing it, unfortunately, is the quickest way. Unemployed citizens don't help us either. Yeah, that is it. That is it. 15 turns per settler. It's going to be quite, yeah, it feels like it's a bit of a chore, but it definitely is worth us settling as soon as possible. We need to claim as much of this land as we can and get those cargo ships up. And any growth we miss out on at the start of the game will be made up for easily when Edinburgh gets its first cargo run in. There we go, we got our Pantheon. Again, Pantheons are the best ones to go for us, are faith-producing ones. We've got a few options. Tundra tiles of that forest, well, there's only one of those on the whole island, and we're as far north as we can get in the British Isles, so I don't think that's going to be very useful. Desert, no, not for us. Marble, stone, and iron. No, we haven't got any of those at the moment. I mean, iron, we could gamble on getting some, but it wouldn't give us anything now, so not so good. God of War, win a battle within 5 tiles of my city. I mean, that could get me some early game faith, but it's very unreliable, and it does force me to fight really quickly. God King is always a good one if you've got nothing else, but it does become obsolete very quickly, so you've always got to treat it with a pinch of salt. But it would help us get settlers quicker, so perhaps that wouldn't be the worst idea. Don't have any wheat. Normally that's the one I look at, extra growth and wheat. Do you remember we've got the extra Pantheons mod, so the Pantheons are changed a little bit. There's no natural wonders. We haven't got any salt, incense or perfume, unfortunately. Gold, silver and copper, again, looks like we've got none of those. And gems, pearls and amber, none of those either. The only faith producing one is going to be the God King. Now I don't like getting this particular Pantheon because it always feels like I'm sort of missing out a little bit, but it does help your fair city grow, and to be honest, I need to pop out a few settlers as quick as possible, so I think the God King might actually be not a bad option for us. Let's just double check, what does cotton do? Is cotton food or is cotton culture? I can't remember. Can anyone see cotton? Cotton. Everything has one, I think. Am I just missing it? Where is it? Just scream at the screen. Oh, here we go. Silk, cotton and dyes. Oh, ceremonial dance. So that would be 1 culture there, but it's also dies, so 2, 3 culture. But again, it's ages until we can get those. Now, I think God King. I don't normally like going for God King, but it shaves a few turns off the settler, helps us grow a little bit. No, I think it's good. No, actually, it doesn't give you any food, does it? But it does give you everything else. And we can sort of slowly go. We've got 100 turns until we get the next chance of great profit. We're gonna have to go faster than that, but it's worth a shot. Let's keep heading south. Let's see if we can find Elizabeth as quickly as possible. If we can block Elizabeth in, that would be quite fun. But it's going to be tricky to do that without screwing ourselves over, really. I do like how quickly you get a Pantheon with the Celts. Celts remain my favourite Civ. I know we've played a playthrough with the Celts before, but I love the Celts. They are such a good Civ. I like playing with religion on this game. So for me, it's always very good fun. Here we go, an ancient ruin. Good, good, good. Now we're hoping for something like culture. We can't get faith, unfortunately. Faith would have been a good one, but we've got to wait until turn 20 before we can get that. Oh, we can discover a crudely drawn map. Whoa! This is the bottom of England. And there is no England. Whoa. Okay, so apparently... I haven't rigged this. I literally just put as many civs as possible. So one of the 3 civs that hasn't been used is England. You know what? That works really well for us, but in a way, that's kind of a bit sad. I was kind of looking forward in a weird way to fighting England a little bit. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. Never mind. Never mind. Well, we'll live with it. That is a shame. But you know what? There's going to be enough people to fight. We're going to have France. We're going to have Germany. We're going to have Netherlands. There's going to be plenty of people getting up in our grill. So we need to be. We can't rest on our laurels too and say that we've won already, because we definitely haven't. Right. This is going to be a big game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open with tradition, because we're going to have a lot of cities and we need as many border growth as we can. If you're going, and I'm going to go liberty. Liberty is always the way I play. But it's always good if you open with tradition. Now, there's sort of what it does is it gives you early game culture, and it lets all of your cities grow quicker, which it all helps. It all massively helps. Now, there are some people who say that opening tradition actually doesn't work because it makes all the policies after that point harder to get. So it actually means liberty is harder to get later. I disagree. What it does is it gives you that early game culture, which is a good benefit. It helps you grow quickly, and it's all about snowballing from the start of the game. It also means that later stages, if I do go really militaristic, I can get oligarchy with one click, and that would save us a lot of gold later on. So I'm going to open with tradition this game, and then we'll dive into liberty after that. Perfect. Let's keep pressing on. So we've got Brussels over here. We will definitely... so there's going to be France. I reckon France will be there. Unless we get really, really lucky. That would be strange. You know what? I don't know how I feel about England not being there. I was looking forward to a bit of a scrap. But it does make the game easier. It does make the game a lot easier. That I can't deny. There we go.